Hey guys, it's Eddie. You're watching the video tutorial on how to build a pad on the Nord Stage EX. So regardless of what buttons have been pushed or not pushed on the Nord, this is your basic pad construction in the Nord. Alright, so let's start with just whatever the keyboard has at random. I didn't set this up, but here's a sound when I turn on the synthesizer. This is what came out. Okay, so that would not be a very effective pad for our worship service. So what we're going to do is, first we're going to select the sound. You'll see that right here in this section, Sound Select. We're going to go to the pad category. Now, there's no way to switch the category except for scrolling through. So I'm going to scroll through, or at least I don't know of a way. Maybe there is a way. But I'm going to scroll through the 99 settings that are on bass, and then once you pass those, it just starts right up on pad. So go to pad setting number 20. It's called a simple saw pad. This is what it sounds like right now. Okay, so I'm going to leave everything just as is from that preset on 20, but I'm just going to show you guys the things that we need to tweak in order to get the sound that we want for worship. The first one is the frequency. Right here on LP filter, you'll see the frequency knob, and this is the one that's going to, so here if I play, you'll hear how it's changing the cutoff of what frequency I'm going to allow come through. So that's really bitey because that's all the high end of it. But I'm going to roll it back to about 400 hertz right now. That might be a little too low. Let's try a little bit more. So here's 550. Okay, let's start there. Now, here's the resonance. See, if I take it too far to the right, it's just going to sound like really feedbacky and it's going to destroy your ears. So I'm going to keep that pretty relatively low, somewhere like 1.7. Okay, that's great. And for now, I'm just going to leave this the way it is and the frequency control wherever it's at. But then I'm going to go over here to the amp envelope. Attack is probably one of the most important knobs that you guys need to know, as well as the release or the decay knob that we have right here. So the attack knob determines how quickly, when I hit a chord, how quickly the chord's going to sound. So if I take that all the way to the left, that means my attack is 0.5 milliseconds. You'll see that in your main screen in the center of the keyboard. So that means when I hit a chord, it's like starting right away with the sound. But that's not really good for worship because it's just really bitey and aggressive, and I'm looking for something that has just good flow to it. So if I go all the other way, you know, here's like a 10-second fade in. Yeah, that's also not useful because some songs have fast chord changes and I need something that can keep up. So I'm going to look for something in the middle. So here's 1.5 seconds. That might work. Let's try it there for now. And then you have the release and decay knob. This is how much is left over. So here's a bunch, like 43 seconds worth. I let go of it, and it's going to last 43 seconds after I let go of it. So I need that not to be the case. So here's 2.85 seconds. That's too much still. Let's try 1.5. That's still a little too much. Let's try it just at 1 second. Okay, now here's with the pedal, a couple chords. Okay, it's a good place to start also, it might work. And now the most important thing is this top row right here. I actually don't use the EQ, so I just make sure that that's off. You'll see that it's off because the active lights aren't on. And if it's on and you can't figure out how to turn it off, just make sure it's on the 0 right at 12 o'clock. Make sure your vibrato's off. So the way you turn it off is just keep on pushing this until none of the lights are on. And then right here, this is a very important step. I want you to grab this knob where it says unison and twist it because it won't be engaged unless you move it. And then once you move it, then roll it all the way to the right to where it says 10. And then that's gonna change drastically the sound because now it actually sounds like a pad I would use in worship. Okay, make sure your glide is off. Okay, so my attack, now I'm listening. It's too slow. It's too slow. It's not getting there fast enough. I just feel it kind of dropping off too quick also, so my decay is too low. I'm going to bring that up. Yeah, now we're getting closer to something I would use. Turn it down a little bit. Yeah, now let me turn on with the piano, see what it sounds like. So that's the synth section, and now the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add a delay effect to it in the effects section. So here we are in the effects section where we have effects 1 and 2 and the delay. We're going to activate the delay effect, and you'll see right here this is the on-off switch for that effect, but it also tells me the source of what it's applying the effect to. So right now you see the piano is on. The way I switch that is I go over to the middle of the keyboard. You'll see the shift exit button. Hold down that shift button and then put the on off, and that's what selects what you're going to apply that effect to. So I'm going to select the synth, and then right above I have the tap tempo. Since I'm trying to just add a delay that's ambient, it's not actually to a song, to a tempo of a song, I'm just going to do something kind of mellow, something like that. Let's see how that works out. Then feedback is the amount of repeats that you're going to get on the delay. So let's set that to start around 5 just so that you can hear what I'm talking about. So here's the synth. I'm going to turn the amount up so that you can actually hear what's happening. Here's the synth. You see it responding to that. So that's about a good tempo to have. But then right here you see it says ping pong under the word feedback. Ping pong is a delay effect that's going to take advantage of the stereo feel. So if you're running stereo pads, this is a great thing to do. If not, it just helps a little bit. It kind of feel more like a reverb or just an ambient effect. The way to activate the ping pong is you have to twist the feedback knob while pushing that shift button we just talked about. So push shift and then twist it, and you'll see if you turn it to the right, it turns on the ping pong. If I turn it to the left, it turns off. So it's not actually affecting the feedback, it's just turning on the ping pong. So after it's on, then I let go of the shift button, and now I'm just back to just making the feedback different. So I'm going to put the feedback around 3, and I'm going to put the amount. So this is between wet signal over here is to the right. This is wet signal, so that's the delays that I'm creating, and then dry signals on the left side. So this is none, where it's just my synth, and then here I'm going to mix in our delays now. And you see it just added a little bit of an ambient feel. And if you had stereo pads, it'll really make it feel bigger because of the fact that it's stereo. That's how you build a pad on the Nord Stage EX.